The purpose of this video is to provide some clarity around the assignment Barriers to Communication. First thing that you need to do for each of the three categories is explain the barrier. Some students like to separate it into the three different subcategories that the speaker had used. However, that's not a requirement, so it's completely up to you on how you want to approach this, but we are looking at the three main categories, which is your language use, your demographics, and your physical barriers. The next thing you're going to do is to consider the modes that it can actually impact. So the 7 modes that we are focusing on in this course include symbols or text, images, space or how things are arranged, an actual object, body, which includes facial expressions and gestures, sound, and then speech. So those are the modes that you want to consider. So would this barrier impact symbols or text? Would this barrier impact images? And the reason why we want to do that is because then you can figure out how you can reduce them. So if there are certain modes that are impacted, so for example with language use, text and speech are obviously going to be impacted. So if they're impacted, can I use a different mode to offset it so then that barrier won't be there? And if that's not the case, is there something I can do ahead of time that I can plan or prepare or keep in the back of my mind as I'm communicating to make sure that I'm reducing these barriers? It's a little bit trickier when you want to reduce the barrier as the receiver. And the reason is because not everything is in the realm of our control. However, some things are. Sometimes we can practice things ahead of time. So if you know you're going to meet someone from a different culture, for example, you could learn about their culture a little bit more. Or you can practice your perceptions on things or your understanding on different perspectives and have a little bit more grace if a trigger is kind of coming up. Other things you can't control. So if there's something that's outside of your control, can you speak up or can you ask the sender something to help with clarity? Could you ask them to draw a picture? Could you ask them to move to a quieter location? Those type of things. So when you're looking at how to reduce the barrier as a receiver, you may be a little bit more limited, but that doesn't mean that you can't help with the communication.